Yo, what's up guys, and welcome back to Chef Shad. Got one more video, one more set of stories for you guys here from my experiences here in Morocco. And so specifically this one is going to be what experiencing Ramadan is like for an American or a Westerner or somebody who isn't familiar with Muslim culture. Okay, so when I was here in Morocco, I spent the entire sacred month of Ramadan here in Morocco, and then specifically in two different cities, Marrakech for the first half, and then Chef Shawad for the second half. Okay, so I didn't really know what to expect when it first started. I had known that they were going to be fasting, and I thought, hey, maybe I might have to be fasting too. Long story short, if you're a tourist, you don't have to practice Ramadan, but I did end up trying it, and so that's one of the things I want to share with you guys today, specifically of what my experience was like and what it's like to experience Ramadan in a Muslim culture. So first things first, here's what it sounds like in a nutshell. Right when the sun sets, and people are ready to break their fast and start eating at the end of the day. So here's what it sounds like. So I remember when I first got here, I had met somebody from France who was trying to describe that, and he had made it sound like it was like a call to war, but it may sound that way, but if you experience it long enough, you start to realize that it's really just a beautiful spiritual thing, and it's something that happens all day, every day, even outside of Ramadan, 5 times a day. The guy will get on, there'll be dudes all over the city on megaphones, doing the call to prayer. I can't even mimic it, nor would I even want to try because I would just butcher it. They actually, just so you guys know, they specifically train and hand select people who sing the things like Allahu Allah, Allahu Akbar. I can't even pronounce it. And all the different calls to prayers and ways to break the fast. And it's really beautiful, as you guys can hear right there. And so specifically why they do it, I can't speak for all of Muslims myself because just so you guys know, I'm not a Muslim, but I do appreciate and respect their beliefs and all of the things and perspectives that they have in life and their spiritual outputs. Okay, but what I've learned about why they do it is while they're fasting, they realize what it's like to be poor. Okay, they're not able to drink water or eat food while the sun is out the entire day. So if you can imagine what it's like just doing that for one day, well, they do that for a whole entire month or lunar cycle straight every day. And so if you're working, you still have to continue working. You still have to continue carrying out your normal life. And so that's one thing that really kind of shocked me. It's like, wow, these people are very strong. Okay, and so if you ask people why specifically they like fasting, a lot of people will say that it clears their minds and it clears their bodies. It gives them gives their organs a break. Like for example, their digestive system, it gives them a break. They're not the way they'll explain it is they're always processing food. And if you're living in a place kind of like an obese culture, like for example America, they would say that it's bad for the body if you're always eating all day, every day, and eating in abundance. And so that's one of the reasons that they like practicing Ramadan. It's not just for eating, it's also for drug habits too, like smoking, drinking. They're not allowed to do that during the day, during Ramadan. And so that's something that I really kind of respected. It's like, wow, these people are good people. Okay, and so another thing that they'll do during Ramadan, as I understand, since they're getting the perspective of what it's like to be a poor person, well, the tradition in Islam is that during the month of Ramadan, you're supposed to be helping the poor as much as you can. It's one of the 5 pillars of Islam, helping the poor. And so specifically during the month of Ramadan, it's something that a lot of people will do. They'll be sending big checks. I've met a lot of Muslim friends here in Morocco, and so they've been telling me that, the people who are really rich, they'll just be giving loads of money to charities and other Muslim people who need help. Okay, so I thought it was pretty cool. And then now I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about my personal experience with Ramadan. Okay, when I was in Marrakech, I had met a Muslim friend, and so he was actually from the UK, and so he spoke a really good English. Obviously, he's from the UK, he speaks English. And so outside of like the slangs, the difference in slang that they have in the UK, because I did realize that Talking to somebody from the UK is not like talking to somebody from America. They have a lot of different ways of saying things, and sometimes it's almost like talking to a person in a different language. But anyways, outside of just the little minor differences in the way we pronounce words and slang and all that, we obviously were able to talk very well. And so I was hanging out with this guy. His name was Mohammed. Very good guy. And he and I, long story short, we had a bet one night. And we were playing poker. We were using real dirhams, but it was just for the bet. Okay, the bet was that if he had won, I would fast. I would try out the Ramadan fast. And if he had lost, or if I had won, excuse me, if he lost, then he wouldn't smoke for 2 days. Okay, so a pretty good bet, right? I'd try out fasting. He would stop smoking for 2 days. Okay, obviously, he's a Muslim. He's not smoking during the day anyways, but it was just something that he wanted to cut long term. Anyways, so I actually ended up winning the poker game, but I was a little curious at the time, so I told him, hey, I'll try out the fast anyways, okay? And so I stayed up all night that night, and then they have breakfast for Ramadan at about 1:30, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but it's really early in the morning, around 1:30, 1:45, something like that, before the sunrise, so that way they could get a little bit of fluid in their system, a little bit of food in their system before having to fast all day, okay? And so that's why I stayed up until like 1:45. And then there was a person here from Saudi Arabia, and he was the one who actually was cooking food. It's something that people do. They'll all pitch in on the food, and one person will cook one day, the next person will cook the next day. And it's kind of like a family bonding experience. It's another thing that's pretty cool about Ramadan is it really brings people close together because they're on the same stream of consciousness. They're all fasting. And so they can relate to each other a lot better than those who are not fasting. And so you'll notice a lot of people, there's a big brotherhood and a bond between the Muslims who are fasting, and it's really noticeable, palpable, the difference in the consciousness, the stream of consciousness between the two parties there. Anyways, tangent aside, a person from Saudi Arabia is making breakfast for us, and then he had prepared what was a pretty typical Saudi Arabian dish. And so he had made rice, and there was just like a big old chicken on the top, and then there was vegetables in there too. As you guys know, I don't prefer eating meat. I have cheated a couple times, and I always end up feeling bad when I do. I don't know why. It's just how my body prefers to eat a vegetarian/vegan diet nowadays. But I did cheat a couple times, and specifically I ate a couple pieces of meat this night just because I knew I was going to be fasting the entire day. And so, but what was really odd about this breakfast, and I just want to share this because I want to share the difference in the culture between Saudi Arabia and the United States, because that was something that was pretty amazing. It's just the difference in the two cultures. This person was making breakfast, and he came to me and my friend from the UK, the Muslim team, and he said at about 1:30 when the food was ready, he said, people in my country eat with hand. And so basically, long story short, my friend said, yeah, we eat with hand too, it's okay. We didn't use silverware, so there was this giant plate. It was about 24 inches across with just a ton of rice and a chicken on the top, right? And so there was about 5, 6 of us who were fasting that day. And so we literally ate with our hands. We would just dig in. And the person from Saudi Arabia had like this really good technique, because apparently it's for real. They don't use silverware, forks and knives and spoons over there. They'll just use their hands. And so he had like this really cool technique about like pushing it together and getting it in his mouth in a very efficient way. That was really surprising to me, because I remember I was just spilling everywhere, and I don't even know how to eat with my hand. I've been eating with a fork and a spoon all day, but the way I saw it, it was 1:30 in the morning. I don't get to eat or drink water all day, so I'm going to do it, right? And so I did that, and it was on a separate occasion we ended up talking politics with this person from Saudi Arabia. I do want to share this story because I think it is very relevant to share. Okay, we were talking, and this was not too long after there was a deal, or an alleged deal, between the United States and Saudi Arabia for a weapons deal. And so he was sharing he showed me this video that they had prepared in Saudi Arabia about how proud they were that Trump had come to their country and was signing a deal. And he said, hey, no weapons, or no selling of weapons means no money for America. And he said that he liked Trump. And my friend from the UK, he and I saw things very similarly, and I felt kind of bad during this exchange because it got really heated really fast. The guy from the UK's his perspective is Trump is not a good person at all, not a good president. He's not good for the global economy because he's going to be invading more countries, blah 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 blah, Syria, North Korea, whatever's next. And the person from Saudi Arabia was more on the Trump side of, however you want to put it. Okay, and so there was a big difference between political views from how my friend from the UK and I saw things and how this person from Saudi Arabia saw things. Okay, and so it seemed like, just based on my personal experience from the people that I met from Saudi Arabia, that they are a little bit more okay with the violent culture. I don't want to generalize because I have not been to Saudi Arabia, nor do I know all the people there. That was kind of the feel, the vibe that I was getting from this person. But anyways, back to Ramadan, because I did want to share that story about that person from Saudi Arabia with you guys. After I ate breakfast, I went and fell asleep, and I slept in till about like noon that day. And I woke up and I didn't really feel a whole lot different. Obviously, I was a little bit thirsty because I normally drink water when I wake up and I normally eat food. But it's like, oh, wow, I'm fasting today, can't do it. Whatever, let's try to get some work done. And so I sat down on my computer and I was trying to do some work because I normally work every single day. That's one of the reasons I'm not always on YouTube making videos, because I need to work and make money to support myself, right? But I couldn't do it that day. I just didn't have any energy. I felt drained. I just, working while fasting on Ramadan wasn't something that was very doable for me because it was more of a period of reflection. So those of you who've tried fasting before, you probably know kind of what I'm saying. Once you get past the hunger and the thirst, you start to realize and put in perspective how little we need to survive and how easy it is to survive on essentially nothing, and what it's like to be poor. And so I really started to respect the tradition of Ramadan after having tried it. Okay, and so also one of the things that I learned is that besides when you don't really have energy while you're fasting, you're kind of just really lethargic and more willing to take naps. It kind of made me understand why homeless people, you always see them sleeping. So, well, they don't have food, they don't have energy, they're going to be sleeping. It's just something that happens when you're a poor person. And it started to give me that perspective and generate a lot more respect for people who are poorer than me. I don't consider myself rich, but I definitely am a lot more blessed than a lot of people, and it definitely helped me put that in perspective. Okay, and then it also helped me realize how easy it is to not eat food and drink water. Like, I would have never thought of this. You could not eat food or not eat that much food and not drink that much water and be healthy and be fine. And you can not eat that much food or drink that much water in a day, and you can survive an entire month like these people do. Okay, tangent back aside, we were talking to this person from Saudi Arabia. He was telling me that the people there don't practice Ramadan to the T, and they'll be staying up all night partying and just feasting all day and smoking cigarettes. Apparently that's what they do because they don't drink alcohol. It's illegal over in Saudi Arabia. But tangent aside, there are a lot, or it seems like the majority of Muslim people take Ramadan very seriously. And it's not about eating a lot when the sun's down, but it's about the fast and the spiritual experience, I guess you could say. That another point that I wanted to make about the experience of Ramadan is that I noticed, at least in Marrakech when I was there, that it tends to make people a little bit more violent. Or I don't know if that's the right word to use, but when you're hungry and you haven't been drinking water all day, you're a lot more defensive about yourself and you're a lot more willing to stick up for yourself. And I noticed that when I was in Marrakech, people would be up in each other's faces because they're just trying to get their point across so they can get it across more clearly because they're on the same stream of consciousness and they're more willing to stick up for themselves. And then one of the things that I noticed is there's a lot more small, shall I say, fights? Not really fights, but verbal fights. And sometimes it gets a little bit physical. One story I wanted to share in particular, I was in the tourist part, the major part of Marrakech, and I was walking with Mohammed, my friend from the UK. We're walking down the street. All of a sudden, we hear this loud noise. We look over, and there's this man at this shoe store, boxes and boxes of shoes, and he was just pulling all the shoes and throwing them out in the middle of the street. And so I'm talking about like 500 shoes in a matter of about a minute that this guy just throws out in the middle of the street. He was really mad, and me and Muhammad, we were trying to figure out why. Muhammad did I, excuse me, better grammar. And it ended before it really started, and all of this poor shop owner's shoes were in the middle of the street. And so Muhammad and I went and picked up all the shoes and helped put it together. But I just wanted to share that story because I thought that was really odd. And there was more experiences. Just we're walking around markets and we see people like all at each other's faces. Almost like comparative to, say, you were to go to a bar in the United States and it's about 1 a.m. and people start fighting. It's almost like that, but it happens, and it's a very real thing that happens here during Ramadan. At least in my experience, it may not be generally true, but in a nutshell, that's what it was like to experience Ramadan for an American person who had never experienced it before. And so I know I said some things that were negative, but my experience and my outlook on the holiday and the whole culture of Islam as a result of experiencing Ramadan, it was just boosted. And I have so much respect for Muslim people, and also Christian people, Hindu people, Buddhist people. I respect a lot of the inputs that people have, and I was glad that I was able to experience something new from a culture that I had generally really no experience with outside of what they put on the TV. But, oh my goodness, these people are radical Islamic terrorist jihad, they're going to kill us all. And that's not true at all. Okay, I want to get that across right now. I haven't met a single Muslim person who is a quote-unquote radical terrorist wanting to kill people. Maybe I haven't been to the right areas, but it just seems like that is such a generalized stereotype that is just bullshit, okay? And excuse my language, but I was really passionate about that. I wanted to get that across, okay? And so that's my experience with Ramadan, and that's what I think about it. And so I hope you guys are having a great day, and thanks for watching. Peace.